It's the 19th of February 2019. I'm David Griffin. I'm here at Youlgrave Lodge Cricket Club and I'm talking to
Peter Abbott,
Frank Richardson,
Dave Tarlton.
Gents, I'd like to pick up where we left off the last interview. There's been no cricket played here for 6 or 7 years, and you were telling me, David, about how Duckmanton Lodge Cricket Club was looking for a new home. So can you just tell us, you chanced upon this ground, or you knew of this ground already, presumably?
Yes, that was when, unfortunately, I had a heart attack, 2004, and I came up here with my daughter on one of our ventures around Derbyshire, and I wanted to look at the wicket and the ground. I said, I can't remember ever seeing it before. So I had a good look and I thought, we could play here. And it was only a week or two later that we had a committee meeting, to discuss what we could do about that bombshell that Civil Service Club had hit us with, that they were closing Duckmanton Lodge, so we'd be left without a home. And obviously we all wanted to play cricket. We started to build a purpose-built pavilion, which had cost us a bit of money, and it wasn't finished, so we were in a bit of a predicament. Anyway, to cut a long story short,
good.
much to Pete and Frank's joy, I mentioned my journey to Youlgrave at the committee meeting. I think Paul Durwood was chairing the meeting at the time, and he liked the idea. Ken Wilde, one of our stalwarts, didn't. He said he would never play at Youlgrave, never journey over there. But Paul liked it, and he wrote or phoned the parish council at Youlgrave and arranged a meeting, and he and I went over, and they were thrilled in the fact that we wanted to come and play cricket here in their village. They virtually bent over backwards to accommodate us.
Yeah.
They're a lovely committee, which we really got to know them well, and they couldn't do enough for us, and the rent was fairly cheap in comparison to what we paid at the Civil Service Club. So all in all, it looked favourable, and we voted to have a go at Youlgrave, didn't we?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And did you lose any playing time from moving from one ground to the other, or was this all done over the winter?
None, because we'd already changed our name to Duckmanton Lodge at that time, hadn't we?
Yep, that's what we were.
We were then Duckmanton Lodge. And the reason being, we'd merged with AGD. After BT Pensions, which was our original name, because we first formed as a midweek team, and when we merged with the AGD, it was the first time that we played Saturday cricket.
Saturday League, yeah.
Yeah.
46 overs.
46 overs.
And what league were you playing in then?
We were playing in the Chesterfield and District Midweek Works League.
Yeah, no,
And AGD were in the Yorks and Derby League.
Right.
Were they? Or were they in the Bassetlaw League? I can't remember.
Yeah.
One or the other. No. 2000 we merged with them, and then we played one season. We were in the Bassetlaw League, I remember that now, as Duckmanton Lodge, because it seemed sensible to call ourselves Duckmanton Lodge because we were two merged teams.
Yeah.
So we'd already had one season in the Bassetlaw League, and that's when I mentioned to you earlier, Dave, that the Bassetlaw League didn't want to come as far west as Youlgrave, but they had a change of heart and said that they'd do a trial for a year if we were prepared to remain in the Bassetlaw League. But meanwhile, we'd contacted the Yorks and Derby League, and they were thrilled to bits that we wanted to start cricket at Youlgrave again.
It was you rejoining that league, wasn't it?
No, we were Duckmanton Lodge.
Yeah, but I mean that Youlgrave
That's
had been
what they
in that
thought
league when they closed.
and that's one of the reasons why we changed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we remained with the Yorkshire and Derbyshire League because there was no way we'd get, we didn't think, we didn't think at the time that teams would want to come out here and play from the Basketball League because it meant a lot of travelling. But in the Yorkshire and Derby League, they'd already travelled up to Youlgrave because they were previously in it.
And what were the challenges like for getting the pitch and the outfield sorted if they'd been sort of abandoned for 6 or 7 years?
We bought a roller.
Had anyone looked after it in the meantime?
No.
No. We came, when we moved, we got you brought the groundsman from Duckmanton Lodge to come up and have a look at it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he took a look at it, and what was his opinion of it?
He said, I wanted him to come and do it, but he said he got no transport. He was a good groundsman at Duckmanton Lodge. But we got an expert from Derbyshire to come and analyse the wicket. And he said, this is sound. He took samples.
Yeah.
We paid about...
It's in the letter there.
Yeah.
The parish council considers that restoring the wicket is a justifiable expense.
Yeah.
To encourage play to recommence, our initial inquiries with the English Cricket Board reveal that they recommend £250 to £400 proper assessment by Lords to take soil tests, etc., before work commences.
And I arranged that because we'd already had it done at Duckmanton Lodge.
Right.
And we paid for that. We paid the £200 he wanted.
Uh-huh.
And then we, with the money we'd accumulated and still got from the grant, we bought a roller, didn't we?
Is that where it
that
came
was a
from?
big
Right.
expense.
Yeah.
We had enough money though for a roller, didn't we?
Yeah.
And were players happy to move? Because you're saying all this
Apart from
happened in the winter. What was his objection to playing here?
He didn't want to travel that far.
Oh, right.
But he soon came round because he loved it.
Yeah, it's a delightful setting.
It
You would have
is.
thought that.
It's one of the best I've ever seen in Derbyshire.
So you went into the Yorkshire and Derbyshire League.
Yeah.
And how many teams did you have? But this is what year? 2007?
7 was it?
Yeah. What
Sorry,
did we, 2007 we moved to
Yeah,
Youlgrave.
2007.
Yeah.
So we're in the Yorkshire and Derby League.
And how many teams were you putting out at the weekend?
3, wasn't it?
Were you?
Three.
First team, second team, and a midweek team.
Yeah. But previous to that, we'd merged with another team who played at Duckmanton Lodge on a Sunday called Wanderers. And we had a Sunday team at that point. But a lot of them wanted to play with us on a Saturday, so we got enough to have continue with a first and second 11 on Saturdays and a midweek league team.
And where did your players come from? Were they all local people?
Very few
Chesterfield.
locals, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chesterfield mainly.
To start
Yeah.
with, it was mostly the players we knew already. We
Yeah.
did canvass round, didn't we?
Yeah.
We got the word about that we'd like local players, and we did get.
We did get some,
We
yeah.
did get a few,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Yeah, we
And
did
did you have any youth cricket at that time?
No.
Or did that? Because I know we come on to that, I'm
Yeah.
sure, in a minute. But
The AGD did. That was run by Jane and Alan Powell.
Oh, yes.
They had a thriving juniors
Yeah.
team, and we inherited a lot of their players, didn't we? Steve, Simon Yates was one,
Yeah. Robin,
and
Andrew,
you're Robin and Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Miles, Durwood.
yeah. So,
And,
so we had a few players from the junior team who stuck with us.
And what was the standard of like? I mean, how many divisions were there in the Yorkshire and Derbyshire League, and where was the first team, for example?
I think they put the second 11 in the bottom league, whatever.
Bottom division,
Yeah,
yeah.
three. Was it 3 or 4?
think
Yeah,
it was
the
4,
bottom
wasn't it?
division, and the first team was the division above.
Right.
And we played a friendly here against Sheffield Works, which all the officials from the Yorkshire and Derby League came, and it was a good game, and they liked it. They thoroughly liked it. So there was no hesitation in joining. They wanted us to play.
And were all three of you playing a playing role at this time?
Yes.
Yeah,
so-
midweek I had retired too,
Right.
Yeah.
But you
except when they were short.
Yeah, I played mainly seconds and you played first, didn't I? But I would help out with the first
Yeah.
when needed.
Right.
At that time, it was after my heart attack. I was only playing the second 11.
All right.
Yeah.
And were there? I mean, did you have players from outside? Did you have overseas players, for example? Were you paying anybody, or was it purely amateur cricket, strictly amateur cricket.
At the AGD, we did have an overseas player from Australia.
Right.
Now, all Australians were usually I've seen overseas players in local cricket were excellent. He wasn't.
We won't name him.
No, well, not name. He was very good socially. Yeah. No, that was the only one. I don't think we paid him.
Oh well, that was. Well, he got.
Strike that from the
He
record.
got value.
But he was a great character.
Job satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this period where you've moved and you've got the ground set up again.
Yeah.
How do you attract? Because it's relatively rural. You younger players to come and play. You talked in the first interview, Peter, about your sons playing the game. So how did youth cricket develop over the last decade or so?
Ooh, I don't know. Damien came, didn't he? He lives just over the boundary down there. He's the first one I remember.
Yeah, once we were here about 5 years, it was a while before we started to attract any interest.
We attracted the McMahon family.
Yeah.
And we got young Jack.
Oh yes,
Young Jack.
From Barbarians, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Shaw. Well, Shaw had already played for us.
Yeah.
So and Jack was a really good player.
Still is.
Yeah, still is. Yeah. So there was an attraction. Exactly what it was to each individual, I couldn't say. But for me, and I know John and Peter and Frank wouldn't go beyond the view. The view was fantastic, and the village is fantastic. It's a lovely place to play cricket.
Yeah, and we come back to that. We ourselves enjoy playing, and I think that rubs off on kids. That you see these guys are enjoying it, and we would give them a chance. You know, Damien played from. I mean, he was rubbish as a cricketer, but he was out there with his whites on, and he run around, and we let him bowl, we let him bat.
Yeah, we didn't have like a junior section, did we?
No.
But what we tried to do was to get any youngsters that came along to play in the Sunday side, so they get a feel for playing with adults and for just enjoying the game. And I think we did that, didn't we? Because when we've done that, we kept them, didn't we?
We had a thespian, didn't we? And Dave Fredrickson.
Yes. Yeah.
Dave really.
Famous one? Is he famous?
Not enough.
He wants to be.
What's his name?
He was from the village, and
He's been big parts in lots of things.
Yeah.
Emmerdale, and
Really?
yeah,
what did I see him on?
something up.
Was it Emmerdale? It was
Bedford
Emmerdale. He was a
and
doctor in Emmerdale.
Was he?
Yeah. That's his
Speaking part.
He did have a speaking part.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He had his own theatre company, didn't he? Cotton Grass Theatre Company.
Cotton Grass, yeah.
So-
Does he play theatrically? Is his cricket theatrical?
Oh,
Is it
yes.
all with a flourish and
Yeah.
as you'd expect.
He invented a new method of retaining his not out. He retired not out. He fainted at the wicket when the bowler was running up to bowl, and
Really?
Out there, suddenly there he was,
just
stretched
dropped.
out.
Yeah.
And do we think, bear in mind that in 50 years' time when people watch this, no one will know who he was anyway, but unless he becomes an Oscar winner.
Yeah.
But do we think it was an act, or was this he genuinely fainted?
He was generally, we carried him off, and he was.
But
really?
it looked good enough to be an act.
Yeah.
Really? So
was
he took
super.
guard.
Oh, yeah.
No, he
there for a
got
while.
a few runs.
All right.
And it got to a reasonable amount of runs to want to come out and preserve his not out status.
Right.
So he fainted as they brought their fast bowler on.
But we carried him off, and he started opening his eyes, and one of the guys said, "It's all right, I've seen him do that on Emmerdale."
I said, Dave, you're still not out. You're all right.
Yeah. His name actually is Dave Skinner. Fredrickson is his stage name, isn't it? And as Dave Skinner, he was a councillor in Sheffield for a while.
Right.
So yeah, but he's a lovely fella.
Yes.
There's no size to him.
So is he your most famous?
No.
You've got some more famous.
We've
people.
had Nigel Bond, the snooker player, play for us.
Have you really?
Can you
Any
remember,
good?
Frank?
I've never played at the same
At
time as him,
baseball?
but
Yeah.
Was he any good?
He only played twice, but his dad played.
because his dad worked with us.
Yeah, his dad worked with us. Yeah, and his wife.
So did he just play as a guest, or was?
Yeah.
Presumably he only played twice. He was.
Well, it was only a friendly, so he played. He wanted to play, yeah. Only twice, though.
Have you played against anybody famous?
Yes.
Go on, man, tell me, Fran.
Jeff Miller. We used to have a regular friendly against the Gate Inn, and I think Jeff was a regular up there, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he turned out for them. And you know, you wouldn't have known he was a famous man, would you? But there was one of the guys, we were making a lot of people redundant, weren't we? And we got a special team set up to process all these numbers going through pensions. So we pulled in some BT engineers who didn't have a lot to do or something. And one of them was a keen cricketer, and he was a good one, wasn't he? I can't remember his name. But he was desperate to get in and bat against Jeff Miller. And we thought, well, I don't want to. He said, no, he said, you can't lose. He said, if he gets you, you say, he's amazing, Jeff Miller, he's still got it. And if you get a few, you say, you must be losing it, because I smacked him all over. Well, it's a point of view, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I've got another story about Jeff Miller.
Far
It goes
away.
back to the AGD days, 70, 71. And Ron Lovegrove was the captain. We played at Lownsley Green. And it was a bit of a dampish day, but we still played because the wicket was good at Lownsley Green. But the Derbyshire match had been called off at Chesterfield, and Jeff was walking along with this, like a wardrobe, his cricket bag. And Ron shouts, Jeff, do you want a game? Because Kalo, the team we were playing, were one short. He said, yeah. And Duke, their captain, Duke Smith, said, yeah, he can play for us. Anyway, he never bowled him at all. And just when it was time for him to bat, he was the next one in for Kalo. It rained and the match was abandoned, so he never actually played.
Do you know, Jeff told me that story when I interviewed
Did he?
Jeff. Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Played a recreational game that didn't bat or bowl.
yeah. That was
He
it.
felt really important because he'd been, said,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they want me to play. They never got a ball or bat.
He fielded though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I was in that match.
And you mentioned just off air
Chris
something
Adams.
about Chris Adams.
Yeah,
what
well,
was-
his brother David, David's wife worked with us, and we managed to con him into playing because they reckon, perhaps I'm not going to that, but David was allegedly the better cricketer.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
yeah. Anyway,
Many say that.
we were playing at Highfield Park, was it? Yeah. Once you clear all the dog shit before you get started, But there was a strip in the middle, and David was batting, and he's looking easy, and he creamed one away down to fine leg, and just stood because where he was used to batting, it would have just rolled to the boundary, and it was run, you bugger! And I think he got one off it. It was such a marvellous shot for one run. It was a shame. But I think that was the only time he played, was it? Did he play
No,
more
he
than
played a couple of games.
Did he?
Yeah.
Fascinating. Well, gents, I'm going to pause it there because I want to talk more now about the modern day, about the All-Stars and about some of your rivals and what have you. But for now, thank you very much.